بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك الطيبين. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله. يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والذين يقولون ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Sometimes in a family, in a couple, a husband and wife, they're married or they're engaged, they're in a relationship. Sometimes you may find the husband to be extremely jealous, very jealous. Not jealous of his wife, jealous over his wife. There's a difference. There's a big difference between jealous of someone, meaning you want to be like that person, you're envious of that person, you wish to have what they have. Sometimes you're jealous over someone, meaning you don't want anyone to go near that person. If you're jealous over a friend, that means you want to be their only friend. You don't want that person to have other friends. When a child is jealous over a parent, that means they want the attention from the parent. They don't want the parent to give attention to anyone else. So there's a difference between jealous of someone and jealous over someone. In a relationship, sometimes you find the husband to be jealous over his wife, meaning he's overprotective. He doesn't want other men to speak to his wife. He doesn't want his wife to have male friends. He's overprotective of what she wears, how she portrays herself in front of non-mahram men. And sometimes it's the wife that's overjealous of her husband. She's super jealous. Her husband can't speak to other women. He's not allowed to speak to other women. He cannot have female friends. This upsets her. He can't look at other women. He can't follow women online. So sometimes the husband is overly jealous. Sometimes the wife is jealous, and sometimes both. Both of them are jealous over one another. Tonight, my dear brothers and sisters, we want to discuss the topic of ghira. Ghira, you cannot really explain in English. You cannot give justice to this word with one translation, one word translation. Ghira, my dear friends, is being protectively jealous. I think that's the most accurate translation. Not being jealous, but protectively jealous over a spouse. The husband is overly protective of his wife, or the wife is overly protective of her husband. Is this something healthy in a relationship? When a husband is jealous over his wife, is this something good or is this something bad? Is this something positive or is this something negative? If you, a husband, you find yourself to be overly jealous over your wife, should you change? Or is this a good thing that you should have? And other men should have as well? Or is it a bad thing? Or is it a bad thing? Because here in the West, being overly jealous, protectively jealous over a spouse, they see it as a bad thing. You're intruding on their rights. Let your wife be. She wishes to dress in a sort of way, have makeup, have male friends, go out with men, speak to whoever she wants. That's her freedom. You can't say anything about it. Otherwise, if you are overly jealous of your wife and you have ghira, they don't call this jealousy. They call you a psychopath. He's a psychopath. He doesn't allow me to speak to guys, so he must be a psychopath. He tells me how to dress. Oh no. He must be a psychopath. This is an illness that needs to be treated. Is this an illness? What does Islam say? Today, we don't care what Western culture says. We know what Western culture teaches us. There's no such thing as ghira in Western culture. We want to say what Islam says. That when a husband is overly jealous over his wife and he cares about what she dresses, how she talks, how she walks, how she glances, who speaks to her, who are her friends, is this healthy or is this not healthy? This is one. Two, when a wife has ghira over her husband, what does Islam say about that? When a wife is overly jealous over her husband, she doesn't want him to talk to women. She tells him who to talk to, who not to talk to, who to befriend, who to speak to, who to hang out with. Is this acceptable in Islam? Or is this not acceptable in Islam? Is this healthy or is this not healthy? This is a topic that we'd like to address tonight. We'd like to see the difference between Western culture and Islamic culture. How Western culture views ghira or ghayrat, and how Islam views ghayrat and ghira in men and in women. Wa sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Our hadith, our lecture will revolve around a hadith by Imam Ali alayhi salam. An amazing hadith by Imam Ali. And all of the hadiths by Imam Ali are amazing. All of his sayings are full of wisdom. Some of them are one-liners. If you go to the end of Nahj al-Balagha is comprised of sermons, letters, and short sayings. Short sayings. These short sayings, there might be they're a one-liner, but they're full of wisdom. They're full of wisdom. They carry so much weight to them. Our lecture will revolve around a hadith by Imam Ali alayhi salam that was stated 14 centuries ago, but carries so much weight. It carries so much wisdom. And even till today, it's applicable. We don't assume that it only was relevant to the days that he lived. No, it's still relevant to our day. And we will take this hadith in two segments. The first is related to men, the other is related to women. The first part of the hadith says, غِيرَةُ الرَّجُلِ إِيمَانٌ. The ghira of a man, when a man is protectively jealous, overly jealous of his wife, this is faith. This is iman. This is healthy. This is good. If you care for what your wife wears, and what she says, and where she goes, and who she speaks to, and who her friends are. This is something healthy. This is something good. This is iman. That means a person who does not have ghira over his wife, over his significant other, he lacks faith. He lacks iman. There's something wrong with his faith and iman. It is natural to feel jealousy over your wife, over the woman that you love. You want her for yourself. She is your wife after all. And she's in a contract with you. You don't want other men to be gazing at her. You don't want her beauty to be shared by others. Her beauty's for you, and not for other men to gaze at. You don't want other men to enjoy her beauty. This is something healthy. This is something positive. When a man does not want his wife to speak to other men. Now, of course, wait along until the end of the lecture to see where we're going. This is something natural. This is something natural that, especially if other men have interest. Sometimes it's something innocent. Sometimes it's something innocent. She goes to the gas station to buy something, or it's at work. Something very professional, and it's work-related. That is excusable. That is understandable. But sometimes no. It's not work-related. It's not related to health. It's not necessary, but a man wants to come and strike a conversation with your wife. No one accepts this. No one would want this. Is it necessity? No. Is it work-related? No. Is it a doctor? Is it a lawyer where it's related to work? No. So then why are you having a conversation with my wife? What's the necessity? Go find someone else to speak to. When a man cares for the hijab of his wife, when she leaves the house, how she's dressed, her hijab, her makeup, does it attract the attention of other men? It doesn't attract the attention of other men. If a man pays attention to this is ghira, this is good. This is healthy. This is part of iman. Ghiratul rajuli iman. And this is natural, my dear brothers and sisters. This is natural in all human beings. I'll even go further to say that this is even natural in some animals. Even animals. Animals, a male animal has ghira over the female animal. In some animals at least. But you don't find it in some human beings. You don't find it in the West. You don't find it in some Western cultures, as we will mention later on. This is something positive, my dear friends. This is part of fitrah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in every man to be overly protective of his wife. He does not want his wife to be shared or her beauty to be shared. He wants to protect her. This is something positive. This is part of fitrah. He cares about how she talks to other men. And this is very important because the Quran even teaches us. The Quran tells women, the Quran speaks to the wives of Rasulullah. And the wives of Rasulullah are an example for all of the women. The Quran says, فَلَا تَخْضَعْنَ بِالْقَوْلِ فَيَطْمَعَ الَّذِي فِي قَلْبِهِ مَرَضٍ. When you speak to men, don't lower your tone and soften your tone when you speak to non-mahram men. This is unacceptable. There are some women, when they leave the house, they lower the tone. They speak very softly to non-mahram men. But at home, she talks like a bear to her husband with the harshest tone. Should be the other way around. Soften your tone for the husband. Make your tone harsher for other men. That soft tone should be reserved for the husband, not for the other man. This is what the Quran says. Even the way a woman walks. You see, my dear friends, especially the sisters, they have to understand this, that a man's psyche is different from a woman's psyche. A woman is attracted through her ears, through what she hears, through what she is told. That's why some men, they sweet talk. He could be the ugliest guy on earth, but he could sweet talk his way. Men love with their eyes. They're attracted through their eyes. A voice, the way a woman walks, the way a woman talks, the way a woman sits. It could be very attractive. It could be very enticing. Thus the Quran says that a woman should care how she talks, how she approaches other men, how she walks in front of others, how she sits. This is part of Islamic adab. You sit in a way that's not provocative. You talk in a way that's not provocative. You walk in a way that's not provocative. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran tells us about the two daughters of Yaqub. When Musa left Egypt, he was afraid. He left Egypt and he went to Madian to get water from the well. He saw two young ladies who happened to be, he didn't know, they happened to be the daughters of Prophet Yaqub. He got them water. He saw two vulnerable ladies that cannot compete with men to get water. So he got water for them and he gave it to them and they left. فَجَاءَتْهُ إِحْدَاهُمَا تَمْشِي عَلَى اسْتِحْيَاءٍ. One of them, she came to him walking with shyness. The way she walked, she was shy and embarrassed. Look at the way young ladies walk today. The way they walk in front of men. Very enticing, very provocative. فَجَاءَتْهُ إِحْدَاهُمَا تَمْشِي عَلَى اسْتِحْيَاءٍ. She walked in a shy manner. In a shy manner. The Quran teaches men and women how to behave, how to talk, how to walk. Because that says a lot about your character. Even in gazing. The Quran says, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. Tell the believing men to lower their gaze, not to stare. And by the way, women as well. وَقُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنَاتِ يَغْضُضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. Women should also lower their gaze, not just men. Both. It works both ways. And we'll get to the men, by the way. Women also have to lower their gaze. Sometimes a female doesn't understand that by gazing, by looking, whether she realizes it or not, she's giving a signal, she's giving an invitation. Or the man actually thinks it's an invitation. Maybe it's not an invitation. Maybe she's looking very innocently, gazing innocently, but the man thinks it's an invitation. It's an open invitation. Thus, the way you look, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you sit, this all plays a role. A man has to pay attention to this. A man who loves his wife, a man who has ghira, he has to pay attention to all of this. Not just his wife, but his daughter as well. His ghira towards his wife and his daughter, he pays attention. This is something positive. He's not a psychopath. We have things wrong. And as some ahadith tell us, that at the end of time, we will see what is good as wrong and what is wrong as good. When a man is overly protective of his wife, he has ghira towards his wife, they told him, no, you're crazy, you're insane. You're a psycho, you're a psychopath. You see how things flip? While Islam tells us that a man who is overly protective of his wife has faith, has iman. Today, my dear brothers and sisters, men don't have ghira. Many men don't have ghira. Many. They don't. Because we came and we lived in the West. We've been desensitized to Western culture. Oh, it's okay for my wife to talk to other men. It's not a big deal. If she has male friends, if she goes out with men, it's fine. Co-workers, maybe they have a lunch party or they text. It's fine. Who cares? It's not a big deal. What do you mean it's not a big deal? What do you mean it's not a big deal? It is a big deal. But we've been desensitized. Maybe because of Hollywood, maybe because of movies, TV series, Netflix, I don't know. But we've been desensitized. It's okay. It's actually normal for my wife to have guy friends and go out with them and maybe have coffee with them once in a while. It's okay. We've been desensitized. Maybe because of Western culture, I don't know. Today, many communities, we're fine with our women dressed inappropriately with a lot of makeup on, perfume on, and they go out and they work with other men. They work in an environment where there's a lot of men. Now, of course, we are not against women working at all. Islam does not say that women cannot work. No. It is very much permissible for women to work. And in fact, we live in a time and in an age where one salary is not enough. Many families today, they need 2 salaries, maybe even more. Maybe some of the kids have to participate as well. Some of the teens have to participate as well. But there's a difference, my dear friends, between a woman that works in a workplace where there's other men and where there's joking and laughing and inappropriate mixing and inappropriate joking and flirting. This is the problem, where you have to draw the line. You have to draw the line. And don't fool yourself that, oh, it's just innocent. It's just innocent. Who told you it's innocent? Who told you it's innocent? Just because a woman is married, it doesn't mean that shaitan doesn't exist. She's married and she goes out with, there's men at work, they have a lunch party, there's joking, there's mixing, there's laughing. It's okay because she's married. So what if she's married? In fact, this makes the chances of falling into sin even higher. Why? Because you dismiss the idea, oh, she's married. And this is how shaitan comes. Because you dismiss the idea, you don't care for the idea, this is how shaitan comes. The hadith says, everyone knows this hadith, ما خلا رجل بامرأة إلا وكان الشيطان ثالثهما. Whenever a man and a woman are alone together, the third party, the third wheel, is shaitan. It's shaitan. Don't fool yourself that this is just innocent. It's an innocent friendship. It's not going anywhere. Who told you it's not going anywhere? Maybe you trust yourself. Do you trust the other person? Shaitan is always there. Yes, I understand that in this society, sometimes you cannot avoid mixing. You work at a hospital, for example, at a clinic, at a pharmacy, and there's mixing between men workers and female workers. Sometimes there's meetings, sometimes you have to text for something work-related. This is understandable. Islam is not an ununderstandable religion. Sometimes there's necessity. We understand that. We get that. But sometimes it's beyond necessity. It's for enjoyment. It's for freedom. I'm free to choose whoever I can text and who I go out with and who I have coffee with. It's freedom. It's under the context of freedom, not under the context of necessity. If it was under the context of necessity, it's understandable. You work in a clinic, in a pharmacy, and there's pharmacists around you, and you have to talk to them. You can't be in a box. You can't wear a mask and gloves and like the days of COVID. That's understandable. But sometimes it goes beyond that. We don't draw the lines. And it's a very slippery slope. It's a very slippery slope. Unfortunately, my dear brothers and sisters, one of the drawbacks of Western society is that here there's no ghira. There's no ghira. He could care less who his wife goes out with, who she texts, who are her male friends, her guy friends. She has a coffee with them. She goes out to dinner with them. They spend the entire day together. He could care less. He doesn't care. He sees it as part of freedom. Sure, there's freedom, but there's also freedom of choosing not to. Freedom works both ways. They shake hands, they hug, all of this under the pretext of, oh, he's my friend. Sure. But a lot of times we saw what happens with friends. They go into a different direction. In this society, this is something very normal because there's no such thing as ghira. In men, there's no such thing as ghira. They don't care. I don't know, maybe even some of them enjoy it. They don't mind. This is a problem. Not in Islam though. Not in Islam. My dear brothers and sisters, today we are in need of more ghira in our men. In our males, they need more ghira. They need to be overly protective and protectively jealous over their wives, over their women. This is your wife. This is your honor. This is your dignity. We have to care. We have to care. Listen to this hadith. This hadith is authentic, with an authentic chain of narrators. When I bring you a hadith, if it's authentic, I tell you. This hadith is sahih. Sahihatu Abdullah ibn Abi Ya'fur. قال سمعت أبا عبد الله عليه السلام, one of the companions of Imam Sadiq. He says, I heard Imam Sadiq say, إذا لم يغر الرجل فهو منكوس القلب. If a man has no ghira over his wife, then his heart is inverted. His heart is corrupted. That means he's not normal. That means he's not normal. If other men have eyes on his wife and he doesn't care that other men are looking at his wife, or maybe he even enjoys it, I don't know, then his heart is inverted. His heart is corrupted. There's something wrong with him. This is not normal. A normal man would not stand this. A normal man would not allow another man to look at his wife in an indecent manner or speak to her in an indecent manner. Another hadith, معتبرة غياث ibn Ibrahim عن أبي عبد الله عليه السلام. This hadith is also authentic, it's credible, on the authority of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen stood up and he gave a lecture to the people of Iraq at that time. He said, يا أهل العراق نبئت أن نساءكم يدافعن الرجال في الطريق أما تستحيون. He said, oh people of Iraq, I've heard that your women go out on the streets along with men. They walk on the same sidewalk. يدافعن الرجال في الطريق. They're on the same streets with men in busy roads. There's men and women in the same roads. Have you no shame? Have you no shame? This was Amir al-Mu'mineen 14 centuries ago, scolding and lecturing the people of Iraq for allowing their women to mix in the streets with other men. Bumping into them, busy streets, they're bumping into them. I wish Imam Ali alayhi salam would see our state of affairs today, how we are today. And another hadith, he says, أما تستحيون ولا تغارون نساؤكم يخرجن إلى الأسواق ويزاحمن العلوج. Have you no shame? Have you no ghira that your women, they go out shopping in the streets, they go shopping and they mix with men, they bump into men and they mix with men and men get to see them and bump into them? Have you no shame? Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam 14 centuries ago was telling us this. He was teaching men how to be men. Teaching men how to have ghira over their wives. Where's your ghira over your wife, over your honor and dignity? And another hadith, on the authority of Al-Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam stated, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Rasulullah says, كان إبراهيم عليه السلام غيورا. Prophet Ibrahim was overly jealous over his woman. Ibrahim was overly jealous over his woman. Sarah, Hajar, he did not want men to speak to them, look at them. وأنا أغير منه. And I have more jealousy over my woman than Ibrahim. Rasulullah says, I am more jealous over my woman than Ibrahim. وَجَدَعَ اللَّهُ أَنْفَ مَنْ لَا يَغَارْ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُسْلِمِينَ. And Allah will break the nose, twist the nose of any individual, any man from the mu'mineen and muslimin who does not have protective jealousy over his woman. Meaning what? Meaning Allah will teach him a lesson. You think it's okay for men to talk to your wife and text her and go out with her for coffee and joke and laugh? Allah will teach you a lesson that you will never forget. Meaning what? Meaning something will happen that it will become a lesson for him for the rest of his life. So that next time he shows some ghira. Hence, my dear brothers and sisters, protective jealousy for men is positive. This is something good. This is something that is needed. A man will protect his family, safeguard his family, make sure they are safe. Make sure that his wife and daughters, they dress properly, that no man would ever violate them, no harm comes to them, no one attempts to violate them. This is something positive. And we see this manifested on the day of Ashura with Imam Hossein alayhi salam. Imam al-Hussein, before he left, he tells his sister, أخي زينب لا تشقي علي جيبا. Don't rip your clothes off because of me. Because this was a custom in Arabia. When a sister mourns her brother, she rips her clothing. and she takes off her scarf as a sign of mourning. She says, not for me, my sister. He says, not for me. There are men watching. There are men watching. On the day of Ashura, in Imam Hussein's final moments. So when we come to the majlis of Imam Hussein, we take this with us. We learn from the ghira of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. Imam Hussein is in his final moments. He's lying on his back in the battlefield, and he saw the enemy soldiers going towards his tents. Who are in the tents? Who's in the tents? The women, the girls, the daughters, the sisters. He would say, "Aqsuduni ana, come to me. Leave my woman alone. Leave my woman alone. Leave my sisters and daughters alone. Come to me. You're after me." Umar bin Sa'd, he says, "Inna ar-rajula ghayur." The man has jealousy over his woman. Go to him. "Aqsuduhu binafsih." Leave his woman alone. Go to him. And then they came to Imam Hussein and they finished him off. Till the last moment, the last breath that Imam Hussein took, he was still jealous over his women and children and daughters. His daughter Sukaina runs out in the middle of the battlefield. He tells her, "Sukaina, go in. I don't want men to see you. Go back inside." Zainab comes out. He says, "Zainab, go back inside. This is not your place. Go back inside the tent. I don't want any man to see you." This is the ghira of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. We come to his majlis, we learn from his ghira. Yes, being overly jealous, having ghira is something positive. However, you cannot become obsessive. You cannot become obsessive. You cannot spy on your wife. Go through her phone when she's sleeping or in the shower. That's if you have the password. Or you put up spy apps on her phone. I think they exist. Or you set up cameras to see where she's going, who she's speaking to. This is being obsessive. This is being too possessive. This is beyond ghira. That is being obsessive. Spying, the Quran says, وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اجْتَنِبُوا كَثِيرًا مِنَ الظَّنِّ إِنَّ بَعْضَ الظَّنِّ إِثْمٌ. Avoid much suspicion, because some suspicion is haram. وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا, and do not spy. You cannot spy on your wife. You cannot go through her phone. You cannot go through her apps. You can't go through her WhatsApp to see who she's speaking to. You can't go through her Instagram to see who she's speaking to. Through her DMs, this is not allowed. This is haram. You cannot become obsessive. You cannot question everything she does or be suspicious all the time. There are some that are suspicious all the time. All the time. This is not normal. This is abnormal. Having ghira moderately is good. Not having ghira at all is abnormal. Having too much ghira to the point of obsession, this becomes an illness. There are some men, they make accusations. You cannot make accusations, false accusations. One of the greatest sins in Islam is al-qadhf, al-ittiham. When you accuse a woman, especially your wife, of a crime that she has not committed. This is one of the greatest sins. This is one of the greatest sins. And in fact, in an Islamic state, the man would get flogged for wrongfully accusing his wife. He'd get flogged. You can't make accusations based on paranoia. This is not wrong. This is very wrong. أن الذين يرمون المحصنات الغافلات المؤمنات لعنوا في الدنيا والآخرة. Those who accuse married women wrongfully, they are cursed in dunya and in akhirah. And this will ruin your marriage. To have paranoia, being suspicious all the time. Where is she? You put up apps, or you tell her to send your location and you chase her around. This is being abnormal. This will ruin your marriage. This becomes a mental health disorder. Normal jealousy is fine. Having normal jealousy over your wife is fine. But being obsessive, this will destroy your marriage. It will destroy you. It will destroy her, and it will destroy eventually your marriage. I know some husbands that are jealous over their wives from her brother, from her father, from her uncle. This is insane. When you're jealous, when she speaks to her brother, there's something wrong. Or when she's speaking to her father, then there's something wrong. This becomes a mental health issue. This is not normal jealousy. طيب. Now let's come to the sister's side. وصلوا على محمد وآل محمد. The first part of the hadith says غيرة الرجل إيمان. And as for the woman, وغيرة المرأة كفر. For a woman to be overly jealous of her husband, this is kufr. This is unacceptable in Islam. You might ask why? What's the difference? A man can be overly protective, overly jealous of me, but I can't be overly jealous of him? Yes. This is how it is in Islam. Why? Because being overly jealous of your husband, it will lead you to do something haram. Say some things that are haram. Make false accusations. Accuse your husband. Accuse anyone that speaks to him. It will drive you to say ghiba and backbite. Accuse him. Spy on him. Check his phone. Check through his messages. This is spying. This is not allowed. Both. A husband cannot spy on his wife. A wife cannot spy on her husband. Both. You cannot go through each other's phones without permission. You can't go on their Instagram or on their WhatsApp chat unless they allow you to. That's a different story. But without their permission, you can't go through their phones, through their WhatsApp and read their messages and try to find something in there. And then maybe misunderstand. This causes stress. This causes anxiety. A wife who is overly jealous of her husband, this ruins her life, his life, and his marriage. And their marriage, their marriage, not his, their marriage. Their marriage. It will cause them anxiety and stress. And there will be constant fights. Being overly jealous, this is something desired in a man, not in a woman. Not in a woman. A woman is supposed to be a source of comfort for her husband, as a husband should be a source of comfort for his wife. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for us pairs from us. Why? For us to feel sakina. Taskunu comes from sakina. What is sakina? Comfort. A wife is a source of comfort for her husband. Her husband is a source of comfort for his wife. A wife is meant to give the benefit of the doubt to her husband. Give him the benefit of the doubt. You come and you question every motive. Why did he look at this girl? He has an evil intention. Or he's meaning her. He's seeing her. No, that's not the case. When you question his every motive, when you question his every glance, when you're overly jealous, this ruins your relationship with your husband. There are some ladies, they go way out. They check the car for clues. Any piece of hair or perfume, they become Inspector Gadget. When it comes to the car, they look for clues. And sometimes it's paranoia. Most of the times it's paranoia. What is this smell? What is this piece of hair I found in the car? Who is this lady texting you? Oh, she texted me, yes, but this is a coworker. Or a cousin. Or it's something very innocent. When it goes beyond reasonable doubt, it becomes paranoia. When it becomes paranoia, it turns into an obsession. And then you will be driving him away. Does this mean that men have the green light to do whatever they want? Absolutely not. Does this mean that men can have female friends at work, at school, at college, and do everything that a woman is not allowed to? Absolutely not. Can he also laugh and joke and flirt with other women? No, absolutely not. Can he also go to lunch and dinner parties and mix with other women? No, he can't. We don't give the green light to men and give a red light to women. No, both. He cannot, absolutely not. He cannot cross religious boundaries as a woman cannot cross religious boundaries. And yes, you have every right to admonish him. What we talked about a couple of nights ago in our lecture, safeguarding our families. You have the right to perform al-amr bil-ma'ruf wa nahi 'anil munkar. If your husband texts his woman all the time and it's not necessity, it's not work related, it's not a family member, you have the right to object, not for yourself, for the sake of Allah. You tell him what you're doing is unnecessary. This is haram. Laughing and joking with this lady is unnecessary. It's haram. Not because you're overly jealous, but because you're guiding him, you're advising him, you're admonishing him. You see the difference? As a husband advises his wife can also advise him, admonish him. But don't drive him away. Don't become obsessive. When it becomes an obsession, when it becomes based on paranoia, this will ruin your marriage. My dear sisters, let me tell you a little secret. Men do not like women who are insecure. A woman who's always jealous, constantly jealous, worried of other women, feels insecure of other women, feels threatened by every other woman out there. This is unattractive. You're pushing your husband away. No man finds that attractive. When you feel insecure and you feel threatened by every other woman out there, this is unattractive. It's not unattractive at all. In fact, men are attracted to women that are self-confident. Be self-confident. You're overly jealous of his coworker and his cousin and his college mate, and that's unattractive. Be self-confident. Do not feel insecure. He'll like you more. He'll be more attracted to you. There's something attractive about a woman that's confident. And all men are attracted to a woman that feels confident in her looks, in her akhlaq, in her family, in her job, in her house. She's confident. That's attractive. You feel insecure and threatened, that's very unattractive. That's a major turn-off. Ask any man and they'll tell you. غيرة الرجل إيمان وغيرة المرأة كفر. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, one of the issues that he had was that some of his wives were overly jealous. Some were very jealous, overly jealous. In Sahih Muslim, volume 7, page 134, we read the following hadith on the authority of Aisha. This is not Al-Kafi or Bihar al-Anwar or Wasa'il al-Shia. This is in Sahih Muslim, the second most credible book according to our Sunni brothers and sisters. Aisha, she says, ما غرت للنبي على امرأة من نسائه ما غرت على خديجة. I was never jealous over anyone like the way I was jealous from Khadija. لكثرة ذكره إياها وما رأيتها قط. She says, I never even saw her. But because Rasulullah mentioned her so many times that I was so jealous of her. In fact, one time I did a search in Bukhari and Muslim. I found over 7 or 8 narrations where Aisha, the wife of Rasulullah, admits to being jealous. Admits to being overly jealous. And we saw how she ended up with Rasulullah. We saw how sometimes she would have a sharp tongue. She would speak back to Rasulullah. Sometimes she would disrespect him. There's a hadith in Bukhari. Rasulullah tells Aisha that, Ya Aisha, I know when you're happy with me and I know when you're upset at me. She told him how. He says, when you're happy with me, when you want to swear about something, you would say, La wa Rabbi Muhammad. You would swear by my God. When you're upset at me, you would say, La wa Rabbi Ibrahim. I swear by the Lord of Ibrahim. That's when I know that you're upset at me. Her jealousy caused her to have a sharp tongue with Rasulullah. And Rasulullah was not comfortable with her. And another hadith in Muslim, in Sahih Muslim, that one day Hala, the sister of Khadija, knocked the door and she entered Rasulullah's house. When Rasulullah heard her voice, he said, Allah Hala. She said, I was so upset. Why was he happy when he heard the voice of Hala? Because she reminded him of whom? Of Khadija. Of Khadija. So he said, this voice reminds me of Khadija. Aisha says that I snapped. She says, I told him, وَمَا تَذْكَرُ مِنْ عَجُوزٍ مِنْ عَجَائِزِ قُرَيْشٍ. Why do you keep on mentioning an old lady from the old ladies of Quraysh? هَلَكَتْ فِي الدَّارِ. She died. فَأَبْدَلَكَ اللَّهِ خَيْرًا مِنْهَا. Allah has given you a better wife, meaning herself. meaning herself. A final hadith before I get to the musibah, and this is in our books, and this hadith is authentic, Sahihat Umar ibn Udayna. The hadith says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam one day married, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Rasulullah married a woman by the name of Sana min Bani Amir ibn Sa'sa'a. He married a young lady. And the hadith says, كانت من أجمل أهل زمانها. She was one of the most beautiful women of her time. فلما نظرت إليها عائشة وحفصة, when Aisha and Hafsa saw her, they panicked. They felt insecure. قالتا لتغلبن هذه على رسول الله لتغلبن هذه على رسول الله. They said, she will steal the heart of Rasulullah and Rasulullah will forget all about us. So they devised a plan. They came to Sana and they told her that Rasulullah likes a person who's shy in intimacy. And in fact, he wants you to push him away. Don't be ready for him. Push him away and he will like you even more. She fell for it. The first night of her wedding, Rasulullah came and approached his wife, Sana. He wanted to touch her. She said, A'udhu Billah. When she said, A'udhu Billah, Rasulullah, the next day, he divorced her. He assumed maybe she was forced into marriage or she did not like him. So he divorced her and they got what they wanted. This is what jealousy does. This is what envy does. It destroys families. Aisha, my dear brothers and sisters, was present when Imam al-Hasan passed away. Imam al-Hasan, in his will, he wanted to be buried next to whom? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. So Imam Hossein alayhi salam, along with his companions and Bani Hashim, they brought the janazah of Imam al-Hasan to the house of Rasulullah to be buried next to Rasulullah. Yet Aisha came out and she said, Nahu ibnakum an bayti. Take your son away, to Bani Hashim. Take your son out of my house. Her house. How is it her house? Rasulullah had 9 wives and each wife gets 1/8. So multiply 1/8 by 1/9. How is it that she has the whole house to herself? She refused for Imam al-Hasan to be buried next to his grandfather Rasulullah. So they took Imam al-Hasan to Baqi'. Imam al-Hasan was hit with 72 arrows by the army of Marwan ibn al-Hakam. They performed his kafan all over again, and then they came and they buried Imam al-Hasan in Baqi'. Imam Hussein alayhi salam was very upset for burying his own brother. He would say, أَأَدْهُنُ رَأْسِي أَمْ تَطِيبْ مَحَاسِنِي وَرَأْسُكَ مَعْفُورٌ وأنت سليب غريب وأطراف البيوت تحوطه ألا كل من تحت التراب غريب. He shed his tears and he cried for his brother Imam al-Hasan. Yet Imam Hussein alayhi salam still felt safe because he had his brother Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas was still with him. Imam Hussein shed his tears for Imam al-Hasan and he cried. But he did not say, today my back is broken. He saved that for another day, the day of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Now let's come to Karbala. Imam Hussein alayhi salam was left all by himself. No one left with him except his brother Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. He was the last man standing. He came to seek permission from his brother. Imam Hussein alayhi salam told him, أخي أنت صاحب لوائي فإذا مضيت تمزق عسكري. My father, you are the standard bearer of my army. If you leave, then I do not have an army. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas was an army of his own. He says, if you die, I am left without an army. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas says, then li. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas tells his brother, give me permission to seek revenge from these enemies of Allah. The Imam does not give him permission. He says, then give me permission. You see, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas did not have permission to fight. He had permission to bring water. He said, then give me permission to bring some water. For the children, he said, you have my permission. The Imam tells him, Irkab binafsi ant. Ride your horse, may your brother be a sacrifice for you. May I sacrifice my life for you. Abul Fadl Abbas rides his horse and he goes. All the enemies, they disperse. They move away. Abul Fadl Abbas reaches the river. He goes along with his horse in the river and he fills the water container. And he was extremely thirsty. He grabs a handful of water. He's about to drink, but he hears the children calling Al-Atash, Al-Atash. He remembers the thirst of his brother. So he drops the water and he says, Ya nafsu min ba'd al-Hussein huni wa ba'dahu la kunti an takuni wa tashrabina barid al-ma'ini. تالله ما هذا فعال ديني ولا فعال صادق اليقين رمى الماء على الماء. He dropped the water over the water. He's about to come back to the tent. He's about to come back to the camp. But the enemy soldiers, they surround him from every direction. Some with spears, some with arrows, some with swords. And they begin to attack. One of the enemy soldiers hits him on his right hand, cutting it off. Shout everyone, Wa Abbasa. He says, Wallahi in qata'tumu yamini. إني أحامي أبدا عن ديني. If you cut off my right arm, I will continue to fight for my faith. وعن إمام صادق اليقين نجل النبي الطاهر الأمين. They continue. Abul Fadl Abbas holds the sword with his right arm, with his left arm, and he continues to fight. And another wicked soldier hits him on his left hand, cutting it off. Abbas is left without hands. He's carrying the water container with his teeth. He wants to go back. An arrow lands in his eye. Harmala shoots him in his eye. You know, when something goes to your eye, immediately your hands come to your eyes to take it out. Abul Fadl Abbas has no hands. And then another arrow to his chest. And then he is hit with a pole on his head. Abbas falls to the ground, and for the first time in his life, he shouts, Akhah, adrik akhak, akhi adrik akhak, my brother. He never called Imam Hussein my brother. He would always call him Yabna Rasulullah, oh the son of Rasulullah. For the first time he calls him my brother, come to me. Akhah, adrik akhak. Imam Hussein hears the shout of Abul Fadl al-Abbas. He quickly comes. First he sees the flag on the ground. He sees the right hand on the ground. He picks it up and he embraces it. He sees the left hand on the ground, and then he sees the pole, and then he sees Abul Fadl al-Abbas lying on his back with an arrow in his eye. Abul Fadl al-Abbas, he hears someone coming to him. He thought it was an enemy soldier ready to finish him off. He said, Ya hada, I beg you, I ask you, don't kill me until my brother comes to me and I say farewell to him. Imam Hussein alayhi salam told him, Akhi, al-an inkasara dhahri. Now my back is broken. وَشَمِتَ بِي عَدُوِّي. يا خويا تساوق بيتي علي يا خويا تساعد وشمت بيا. Imam Hussein alayhi salam told him, my brother, you've broken my back. You left me all alone. Who do I have after you? Ya Abbas, get up. Get up, let's go back to the tent. Abbas tells him, my dear brother, do you not see what sort of state I'm in? How do you expect me to go back without my hands, with this arrow in my eyes? How do you want me to go back without water to Sukaina? What am I supposed to tell her? Imam Hussein held the head of Abul Fadl al-Abbas. He puts it in his lap. Abul Fadl al-Abbas moves his head. Again, he grabs his head. He puts it in his lap. He brushes his head. Abbas, keep your head in my lap. Abbas moves. He tells him, why, my brother? Why don't you allow me to keep your head in my lap? He said, Akhi, ba'da sa'a, an hour from now, who do you have to put your head in his lap? You have no one. This is verses of poetry. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas is speaking to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. ادرک اخایم را تو تا شنیدی با گریه تا کنار من رسیدی برادر رنگت چرا پریده کنار من قامت تو خمیده عباس تو در راه تو فدا شد دستن من از پیکرم جدا شد کشم خجالت از روی سکینه دستان آب آور روی زمینه دستان عباست روی زمین است خواهر دل خسته من غمین است عباس تو در موج خون افتاده زهرا کنار پیکرم استاده جان دادم به راه عهد و پیمان با گریه‌ات قلب مرا مسوزان فرق مرا عمود کین شکسته تیر ستم بر چشم من نشسته یا عباس Ya Abbas, welcome the flag of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Ya Abu al-Fadl, Ya Abu al-Fadl, Ya Abu al-Fadl, Ya Abu al-Fadl.